Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys are realizing there's two videos on today because I missed yesterday because yesterday was Father's Day. I wanted to spend time with the family, but I had this article up on Mopar Insiders yesterday saying that the upcoming Chrysler crossover is going to make its debut as a hybrid. Now, this is a big change for Chrysler. Obviously, we've talked recently about them ditching their all-electric plans. We talked in January, we actually broke the news in January that the C6X, this is, by the way, this is not the C6X, this is the Chrysler Airflow Graphite concept. But the C6X, which is the replacement for this vehicle, and that's going to make it into production, was suspended. The development of that was suspended. So if we go back to that article, you can see here it was posted by Jared Belfour on January 9th. And again, we learned this information through suppliers from Stellantis. They actually got this memo here, and it says the C6X, in parentheses CA, which was the Chrysler Airflow program, has been put on hold until further notice. Therefore, any spending associated with this program should be suspended immediately. And it was supposed to go to the end of January, but we were told that from the same suppliers that it was pushed even farther down the road through February and whatnot. So we didn't really hear anything that was going on. And then about April, I was kind of questioning, Chrysler's future of the whole EV thing. And the reason why is because Alfa Romeo broke the news that they were on the same track that Chrysler was. Basically, Alfa Romeo was going to be all electric by 2027. Chrysler was going to be all electric by 2028. Now, if you don't know, Chris Fuel, who's the CEO of Chrysler, is now the CEO of Alfa Romeo North America. And Chris basically started talking a lot about Alfa Romeo's future plans in the earlier part of the year. If you look back to last year, Alfa Romeo, kind of in the late summer, early fall, basically made it pretty well known that they were not going to go all electric. And they basically said, hey, we're going to offer hybrids, we're going to offer internal combustion, and they kind of pushed their all-electric plans to the side. So it was kind of weird when Chris is talking about all this stuff for Alfa Romeo, but nothing was being said about Chrysler. So I basically wrote to her. I said, hey, I want to know what's going on with Chrysler. And I got a very interesting response. Basically, she wrote back to me and she said, in 2024, Stellantis began transitioning to its next generation of products that are designed to give customers the freedom of choice. Our new STLA multi-energy platforms, as well as our existing platforms, are engineered to offer a variety of powertrain options, including internal combustion, hybrid, and electric. To better meet the needs of our customers and provide freedom of choice across our offerings, both Chrysler and Alfa Romeo are pursuing multi-energy powertrain strategies for our future product lineup. So this was the very first time that we heard that Chrysler was not going to go all electric. And that was back in April. So you can see, since December, a lot of stuff's been changing. So that makes sense. It finally kind of gave us an idea that, hey, maybe the C6X, wasn't canceled, that they're changing the powertrain on it. So kind of made sense. But in recent weeks, we've been learning a lot more about this vehicle. So if we go over, just before I went to the 100th anniversary celebration for Chrysler at the Detroit Yacht Club, Eric Lawrence of the Detroit Free Press actually sat down or had an interview with Chris Fuel, and he actually interviewed Frank Rhodes Jr., who, if you've been watching the channel here, he's a good buddy of mine. He did if you watch the Chrysler Air Raid Siren video that was posted over the weekend, that's his, and he actually did the video for me for the channel. So that was really cool. I really thank Frank for doing that. But anyways, Eric basically sat down with Chris Fuel and asked her a bunch of questions. And at the time, again, there was a lot of questions about Chrysler's future and whatnot, but she kind of highlighted, hey, there's going to be basically a sedan coming in the future. The Pacifica that we've been hearing that's going to get a refresh has been delayed a little bit, basically pushed back, and it's going to make its debut now in 2027. And it kind of goes hand in hand with this new Chrysler crossover vehicle. So it says right here, it says that Chrysler will launch a crossover vehicle, but that is now set for 2027. It's expected to be shown in 2026. So the C6X has been pushed back. Okay, obviously we know the program was suspended for a while, and that has to do with their powertrain strategy being changed. So now they're adapting, instead of having an electric vehicle, they are looking at having a hybrid. And the very interesting thing was Eric basically confirmed that. You can see here that the Pacifica minivan is also due for a refresh early next year. So that's been changed. Again, we were supposed to have a new Pacifica for 2026. It looks like we're going to have a carryover for a little bit. And then we're getting a new sedan, basically to replace the Chrysler 300. Is it going to be called the Chrysler 300? We don't know. We don't know. But it's going to be based on the kind of design language that the Halcyon is. But what we also seen was this here. Plans for the entire portfolio to go electric have been scrapped in favor of multi-energy options. The crossover will launch as a hybrid with the capability to go electric. So again, instead of being EV, it's a hybrid. And then it will probably see an EV variant after. So again, this is huge news. We didn't get a lot of detail on this vehicle for a while, and we were learning a lot about it. The other thing we've found out about it is going to be a D segment vehicle. We weren't sure if it's going to be about the size of a Grand Cherokee or the Wagoneer S, and realistically, it sounds like it's going to be the size of a Wagoneer S. So again, we're looking at possibly a 5-passenger crossover, again, all-wheel drive. We don't know what the hybrid system is going to offer. We did know that basically what the Airflow did was it had basically all-wheel drive using 2 EDMs, about 400 horsepower. And the reason why they did 400 horsepower instead of 600 horsepower was the fact that they could expand the range on it. So that whole strategy's changed, but they still could be offering a all-wheel drive model. And what we were hearing from our sources was that Chrysler was going to offer, kind of the same kind of setup that the Wagoneer S was, as a performance model. So there was going to be a base model, and then a 400 horsepower base model, and then a 600 horsepower or so all-wheel drive performance model. So whether that happens or not, we don't know just yet. But again, there's a lot of new information. D segment, we know that for sure now. We know that it's going to be launched as a hybrid. We know that it's been delayed, but it's going to basically make its debut next year, and it's going to be launched next year as a 2027 vehicle. So there's a lot of positive news. And then again, this is just the start. So again, this is not the vehicle. If you're looking at this and you're hearing me talk, this is not the vehicle. This is the Airflow graphite concept. And again, this is just a vehicle to kind of show you this is on the STLA large platform, just like the crossover, the new C6X will be. But this was the vehicle that the C6X is basically replacing. And then after this, by 2028 or so, we'll have a Chrysler sedan. And they just opened up a new design studio about a year and a half ago. And Ralph said at the thing that, they were just jamming to, new designs for the Chrysler brand. And the biggest take of all this is we've been wondering about the Chrysler brand. And at the event, they showed us this little commercial. And the very interesting thing that I thought was probably the most important at the event was for the last few months, or not even few months, probably like the last year and a half, I've been complaining that Chrysler needs to get away from this mainstream kind of whole motif and go back to how it was a blue-collar luxury brand. And in this commercial, they're talking about it. And then Chris came out right after it and said, yeah, she kept saying about affordable luxury, which is blue-collar luxury brand again. So it kind of opens it up to, hey, they're going back to how Chrysler was. Chrysler's going to be at the forefront of this whole different change in movement. And you can see right here, it says, we say yes to luxury. So Chrysler's going back to its roots. It's going to be innovative. It's going to have hybrid, EV, internal combustion. And it's going to go, again, with a very boastful lineup. It's going to have possibly 2 crossovers, a sedan, and a minivan. And that's all within the next 4 years. And then we're hearing also, again, blue collar luxury. This is going to be a whole different thing. So again, there's a lot to be excited about with the Chrysler brand. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But again, if you're waiting for this new crossover, you're going to have to wait a little longer. And I was kind of hoping, I really wish Chris and them would have just kind of gave us a hint of what this new vehicle is going to look like. They could have just gave us like a shot of like the grill emblem or a wheel or maybe a little bit of the headlight all blacked out, just so we can kind of see like, hey, there's something to kind of spark interest. I think Chrysler really needs to do that to kind of boost their image, so people aren't saying like, hey, is their product coming down the line? You know, a lot of people doubt it. But I think it would kind of secure the brand a little bit more if they did something like that. So anyways, tell me what you think. Are you ready for a new Chrysler crossover vehicle? I know a lot of people are. What do you think about the brand's return to a blue-collar luxury brand? You know, do you think that's a good thing, or do you think they should stay more mainstream? And what do you think of the whole idea of like them launching this thing as a hybrid over an EV? Let me know what your comments are. Put them in the comments below. Make sure to check out Mopar Insiders, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.